Welcome back to Slow Living. My name is Esther and I like to sew things that support a slow lifestyle. Here in this video, I'm going to show you how I created this wall hanging from some leftover fabric scraps that I had, and I'll talk you through the whole creative process so that you can create your own. This is a really great scrap busting project, so I would encourage you to find any remnants you might have lying around or to thrift some secondhand materials instead of buying something new. This way we can turn something old or something that's destined for landfill into something beautiful and fresh. There is a lot of creative freedom in designing your own wall art. Since I was using remnants, I actually designed my art around the materials that I already had instead of the other way around. I chose a design that worked with the colors that I had, the amount of fabric that I had to work with, and the size of the wall that I wanted to fill. Sometimes it's nice to have those parameters or constraints to guide your art, but otherwise it's really up to you to create any design that you fancy. I would recommend starting small if you're a beginner, whether it's literally a smaller sized wall hanging or a design that is more simple in nature and doesn't involve lots of corners or curves. Geometric shapes are a good place to start, and straight lines are much easier to navigate than curves. I like to scroll Pinterest for inspiration, but I don't recommend or condone ripping off someone else's artwork. But there are lots of ideas that you can browse and take elements that you like to recreate in your own way. Once I have a general concept, I like to sketch things out and then have a play with the materials to test different textures, finishes, or sewing techniques. It takes trial and error to find something that you like the look of and that is also technically sound, so I do a lot of small tests to see what will work before beginning on the real thing. I knew that I would be working with all different sized remnants, so to maximize my materials and minimize the amount of waste that I would have left over, I chose to cut all of my fabrics into strips and then to piece them together again in a process similar to quilting. I also used pinking shears for that crinkle cut effect, but I didn't end up liking it. And I chose to work with raw edges to add texture and also to mix up the right and wrong sides of the fabric, again to create some dimension and texture to the end product. Once I had decided on all those design elements, it was just a matter of going through each process methodically. So I pieced together each color panel separately, and then I sewed them all together at the end. So the first process was cutting the fabric into strips. This took a lot longer than I expected, and I took lots of breaks to give my hands a rest. It ended up being quite large, the wall hanging that I wanted to create, and so therefore I needed quite a lot of fabric and quite a lot of strips. To get a bit of an estimate of how much fabric I needed, I tried drawing my design onto the tabletop, which was basically the same size as the piece that I wanted to create, and it didn't actually work, so I wouldn't recommend it. And instead, I ended up taping together some pieces of scrap paper and just drawing on that with a pencil and then cutting it out so that I would kind of have a paper template for the shapes that I needed. And because I was using remnant fabrics that were all different lengths, I made sure to use the long strips for the widest part of my design and then save the shorter strips for the narrow parts of the design. I started with the navy strips, as you can see here, which I aligned to the left side, so on the straight edge of my artwork. So I didn't have to pin it in place, I just had to line them up and make sure that I kept them in the same order when it was time to sew them. The sewing process was quite straightforward. I just used a straight stitch on my sewing machine. As a design feature, you could also use the zigzag stitch or perhaps some of the decorative stitches on your machine, but I just chose to use the straight one. As I mentioned earlier, I simply lined up all of my pieces in the same order that I had them on the paper template, and then I overlapped them by about maybe 6 mil to a centimeter so that I had space to sew them together, making sure that they wouldn't just come apart. Then it was a matter of repeating that process for each of the colors. It does get a little bit trickier though with the middle colors especially, because I no longer had a straight edge to align my strips to, so I had to lay them on top of my paper template, and then I actually had to pin them in place so that I could make sure that all of the fabric and all of the strips would cover the wavy sort of curves that I had drawn on my design. Then I would take little sections over to the machine to sew them in straight lines, as you can see here. If I took the whole thing, they probably, would have fallen apart. So just be careful if you're using the same process, do it in little sections. Once I had finished all of the colors, I laid them out over the paper template just to check that I had covered the entire canvas. I didn't want any bare spots showing. And once I had done that, then I gave everything a really good press with the iron. I really should have mentioned earlier that you should probably iron all of your fabrics or remnants or whatever fabric or material you're working with. You should iron it all at the very beginning, because that means any shrinkage that might occur as a result of steaming it or applying heat to it will happen at the very beginning, rather than sewing all these beautiful pieces together and then having it shrink to a size that might be unpredictable or might be smaller than you had anticipated. Next, I cut out the paper template so that I could lay it on top of the fabric and cut around it to get the exact shape that I wanted. I'm a bit lazy, so I didn't want to create separate pattern pieces for all of the panels and then add seam allowance to each one individually. So instead, I cut up the one paper template that I had, and then I accounted for any extra seam allowance as I was laying it on the actual fabric. So do take that into account, considering how you're going to attach your panels together and allowing enough fabric to make that happen. I also started off with this navy panel and cut that one first to see how things would go. So just be careful not to cut all of your pieces, because you might figure out down the track that there might have been a better way you could have done it, or that things don't quite work out as you'd like. So again, start with one and see how you go. I used a simple straight stitch to sew along the edge of each of my panels, so along all of those curved edges, to stop it from coming undone. And then I figured the best way, or the easiest way for me to join all of my panels together, was to actually just overlap them and pin them in place. I did them panel by panel because, again, if I tried to pin all of the panels and pop them under the sewing machine, they probably would have all fallen apart. And because my canvas was quite large, it would have been just difficult to physically fit under the machine. I added a second line of stitching, about 6 mil from the first, for a bit of extra strength, but then I noticed that there was this little edge that kept sort of popping up, and so I decided to sew a third line of top stitching, and that sort of made it look very neat and also gave it a bit of extra strength. I noticed that the back of the canvas was looking quite messy, and it also adds a bit of bulk and a bit of weight to the entire piece of artwork, so I decided to trim along the edge, not too close because you don't want to compromise the stitching or the strength of those panels being pieced together, so just making it nice and neat. And then it was a matter of repeating the process for each of the panels. And the completed canvas looked like this. I gave it a good press with the iron using some steam to get as many crinkles out as I could and to make it nice and beautiful and flat. And then I thought I was finished, but then I realized that I should probably neaten up the edges and also give it a backing. So I found some fabric that I haven't used in ages. If you have like an old bed sheet or something lying around, if you don't want to purchase new fabric, that would probably do the trick. I cut it to size and lay it on top of my canvas so the right sides are together. That way I can sew all around the edge, and then when I turn it inside out, the canvas will be nice and beautiful on the outside. I left 2 gaps at the top of my canvas. On one side was about 3 to 4 centimeters, and on the other side I would say was more like 20 centimeters, so that I could thread the dowel through in order to hang it when it was finished. Whether or not you're using a dowel, if you are putting a backing on, you will need to leave some sort of gap so that you can flip your artwork the right way out. I also trimmed away some excess fabric from the corner so that when I flipped it inside out, you'd get a nice clean corner without all of the excess fabric. Then I simply tucked the seam allowance inside where those openings were and pressed them down flat. I pressed all of the edges to give them a really nice clean finish, and then I used duct tape because I couldn't find my lint remover to pick up any leftover threads or little bits of fraying fabric, popped the dowel through the top and made sure that it was sitting nicely, and then it was finally finished. Just kidding, I realized that I actually needed to pop some thread on the dowel so that I could hang it up. So the process of hanging it, I suppose, is similar to hanging any canvas. I just wound the thread around either side of the dowel in no special way, tied a couple of knots. I sort of tested the tension of the string as well. It depends what kind of string you're using, and determining how far you'd like the canvas to drop in regards to how much string you have, that kind of thing. But otherwise, just try and center your canvas on the wall that you'd like to pop it on, and then be careful when you're standing on furniture, especially if you're pregnant. And voila, it was finally finished. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you enjoy watching sewing and slow living type things. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!